Hello everyone, this is Grace. It is October the 18th, 2024, and we are continuing our study on the fat and the blood. And we left off at Deuteronomy 12, which is where you see the fat and the blood mentioned over and over. Do not eat the fat and the blood. And thither you shall bring your burnt offerings and your sacrifices and your tithes and your heave offerings of your hand, and your vows, and your freewill offerings, and the firstlings of your herds, and of your flocks. Take heed to thyself that thou offer not thy burnt offerings in every place that thou seest. Notwithstanding, so this part, so far so good, okay? But here we come into the deceptions, right? And you know this is a deception because it's just going to repeat every single thing that's said down here. But it has to add in their little extra, their little mayhem, right? So it's going to say it, it's going to add in their mayhem, and then it's going to be the truth that's going to be repeated down here. And of course, they've added their stuff in here too as well. So let's read through it. Notwithstanding, thou mayest kill and eat flesh in all thy gates, whatsoever thy soul lusteth after, according to the blessings of the Lord thy God, which he has given thee. The unclean and the clean may eat thereof, as of the roebuck, and as of the hart, which are not offerings. Only ye shall not eat the blood, ye shall pour it upon the earth as water. Thou mayest not eat within thy gates the tithe of thy corn, or of thy wine, or of thy oil, or the firstlings of thy herd, or of thy flock, nor any of thy vows which thou vowest, nor thy freewill offerings, or heave offerings of thy hand. But thou must eat them before the Lord thy God in the place which the Lord thy God shall choose, thou and thy son, and thy daughter, and thy manservant, and thy maidservant, and the Levite that is within thy gates. And thou shalt rejoice before the Lord thy God in all that thou puttest thine hand unto. Take heed to thyself, thou forsake not the Levite as long as thou livest upon the earth, when the Lord thy God shall enlarge thy borders as he has promised thee. And thou shalt say, I will eat flesh, because thy soul longeth to eat flesh. And thou mayest eat flesh whatsoever thy soul lusteth after. So this is the truth part here. In the place which the Lord thy God has chosen to put his name, there, if the place which the Lord God hath chosen to put his name, there be too far from thee, then thou shalt kill of thy herd and of thy flock, which the Lord has given thee, herd and flock, the ox and the lamb, which the Lord has given thee, as I have commanded thee. And thou shalt eat in thy gates whatsoever thy soul lusteth after. This word is not the same as in Deuteronomy 14, where it says lusted after. This means desire, whatsoever thy soul desires. Okay? Not evil. It's a different word. More bad, I guess you could say. Not necessarily good. But this is not bad. This just means desire. Even as the roebuck and the hart. Again, it's telling you can eat the offering the same as the roebuck and the hart. And the offering, so the roebuck and the hart can't be an offering. Even as the roebuck and the hart is eaten, so thou shalt eat them. The unclean and the clean shall eat them alike. Here we get into the deceptions. Only be sure thou eat not the blood, for the blood is the life. They put this in here because they knew that they had already put the deception that you have to sprinkle that blood on the altar 7 times. And so if they tell you you can eat the offering, the burnt offering, and you can eat the blood, well, this is the perfect opportunity to highlight their obsession over blood. They'll say, oh, you can eat the animal, but don't eat the blood. Pour the blood out, because that's what's used, the sprinkle on the altar to make the atonement. And that's why they put it in here. And it is a lie. And they don't tell you don't eat the blood of just the lamb. They can't do that because they want to confuse you. So they say don't eat any blood. Even though you don't sprinkle the blood of the sacrifice of the ox on the altar. You burn the fat. You burn certain portions of the offering. Anyway, let's continue. And thou mayest not eat the life with the flesh. Thou shalt not eat it. Thou shalt pour it upon the earth as water. Thou shalt not eat it, that it may go well with thee and with thy children after thee, when thou shalt do that which is right in the sight of the Lord. What's the point of putting it in here if you can't add a threat to it, right? They love their threats. Do it or else, buddy. And as long as they're making those threats in the name of God, what difference does it make to them? They love making threats in the name of God. They love it. Only thy holy things which thou hast, and thy vows thou shalt take, and go into the place which the Lord shall choose. I forgot why I highlighted this. I think I was stressing only the holy things, which would be the firstborn, the offerings. The holy things which thou hast, and thy vows thou shalt take, and go into the place which the Lord shall choose. Not regular food, only that which has been deemed holy. The firstborn and the fat. And thou shalt offer thy burnt offerings, the flesh and the blood that's not in there, and thou shalt offer thy offerings upon the altar of the Lord thy God. That's where it ends. But then their deception picks back up. And the blood of thy sacrifice shall be poured out upon the altar of the Lord thy God, and thou shalt eat the flesh. No. You don't eat the flesh of burnt offerings. It's wholly burnt up. So, mixed up in this part, and then they like to rewrite stuff. They rewrite it, and it's often you'll see it in there twice. That's a pattern we're used to seeing with them, where they repeat stuff twice. So, of course, this causes the conflict that I mentioned earlier, because the first fruit is the firstborn and the first fruit, all of that I had believed was supposed to go to the priest. That's not so. Let's read. We'll come across the scriptures in a moment. That thou shalt set apart unto the Lord all that openeth the matrix, and every firstling that cometh of the beast which thou hast. The male shall be the Lord. And like I said, I do believe now that it is just the male. And the reason why, well, we'll see the reason why in a minute. And every firstling of it hast thou shalt redeem with a lamb. That was too vague for me. If you want to accept it, that's entirely up to you. I didn't want, given the fact that this was so difficult to come to an understanding, I didn't want to accept anything as vague as this. It doesn't say anything about why an ass is suddenly bad. It doesn't tell you if it's a male ass. It doesn't tell you if it's the first male or if it's all of the firstling. It doesn't tell you when you redeem the lamb, does it have to be a male or can it be a female? It's too vague, and I wasn't prepared to fill in the blanks for them and have this be wrong. And I have no understanding as to why the ass is somehow excluded from the other beasts. It's an unclean animal. If it's an unclean animal, then just say don't. Well, hold on. It's not going to be eaten, so why would you redeem an ass? I don't get it. You redeem the man. But anyway, and every firstling of an ass thou shalt redeem with a lamb, and if thou wilt not redeem it, then thou shalt break his neck, and all the firstborn of man among thy children shall thou redeem. Again, this would be part of the reason why I couldn't accept that as well, because I found another error. This kind of dumbifies the sentence. Remember, we spoke last time about how the Lord does not make a presumption of presumption that you're not smart. Okay? It would have just said, "And all the firstborn of man thou shalt redeem." It doesn't. You can't redeem another man's child. I mean, what would be or why would that need to be said? I guess I should say. All the men need to be redeemed. Thou shalt not delay to offer the first of thy ripe fruits and thy liquors. The firstborn of thy sons shalt thou give unto me. I'm not quite sure how those are related. I'm really not. Liquors, the ripe fruits, of course, are the trees and this, that, and the other. This is the only place where liquors is used for this word. I believe it means the vine, the fruit of the vine. The grapes, watermelon, all those things. All of the fruit of the vine, they all have a very high water content. So I think it's just called liquors here. I didn't think it was correct at first, but now I think that in the context, they're just speaking of fruit of the vine. The fruit of the trees, the fruit of the bushes, and then the fruit of the vine. But I could not find the connection with the firstborn sons. Of thy sons shalt thou give unto me. Likewise shalt thou do with the oxen, with thine oxen and with thy sheep. You know what? I'm going to take it back. I'm just going to take this back. Shalt thou do with thine oxen. Likewise shalt thou do with thine oxen, with thy sheep, I'm not sure why I highlighted that. I think it was part of the sentence. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put it in bright red like that. But I can't remember why. That and is not there, so that would be a good reason why. There's no and there. So likewise shalt thou do with thy sheep 7 days. It shall be with its dame, and on the 8th day thou shalt give it to me. But I can't remember any other reason why. But that and is not part of the sentence. But maybe I was being paranoid when I said in the previous verse, thine sons, because it has thy son and thy sheep here. So maybe. Though these are both very strange as well, to be honest with you. They're both strange. All that openeth the matrix is mine, and every firstling among thy cattle, of ox or sheep, that is male. I don't know about the male. It's all of them is his, but I think maybe... See, there's so many errors in here. It's hard for me to just add things in without being cautious. No, I think it's just separating the ox and the sheep because those are the two sacrifices. They would have added this as male because the person that added this knew that these were the two sacrifices. And then they just added this in here to try to give you understanding. But the firstling of an ass thou shalt redeem with the lamb. Again, it's too vague. I don't understand it, and I'm not prepared to add in all the extra information that's needed in order to make this offering correctly. Unless you just want to do whatever you can add it in, do whatever you want to do. It's entirely up to you. It's not real to me. I need instructions. If we're supposed to be giving an offering to God, if it's something important enough to write into the Bible, then it should be important enough to write it so that we understand what we're supposed to do. Otherwise, what's the point? You're just wasting ink and paper. And I behold, I have taken the Levites. Okay, this explains why. This explains how. This fixes the conflict of how we are supposed to give all of our first fruits and all of our firstborn to the priests and the Levites, and how we're still supposed to make an offering. We weren't supposed to give all of our first fruits, and we weren't supposed to give all of our firstborn to the Levites and to the priests. But we still do tithe and stuff like that. But let's read the scriptures. And I don't know how I missed this. I guess I never really researched it before. I just was operating under. Or I don't know. I have no idea how I missed this. And I behold, I have taken the Levites from among the children of Israel, instead of all the firstborn that openeth the matrix among the children of Israel. Therefore the Levites shall be mine, because all the firstborn are mine. For on the day that I smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, I hallowed unto me all the firstborn in Israel, both man and beast. Mine shall they be. I am the Lord. It doesn't end there. It continues on. And the Lord said unto Moses, number all the firstborn of the males of the children of Israel, from a month old and upward, and take the number of their names. I have to get off topic here for a moment. In the video, I have to do a quick correction, and I may do a video later, but until then, you'll have the information. In the video, the unborn, it teaches that the combination of the body and the soul, the body and the spirit, creates the man, right? Creates a life. But that's not exactly true. That is not a recognizable life unto God until after the 30th day. It has to be a month old or upward before it is considered a life. The second witness to this is when David had his son. His son lived for 7 days. After 7 days, David said, I'll see him in heaven, but we won't see him again. Now, how did he know he was going to see that child in heaven? He knew that the child was never going to come back. That's why. And he knew that those children that were under a month old were counted as the unborn. And so that child would be redeemed in heaven automatically, but it would not come back. It would not be reincarnated to live here again. So that's the correction on that. We'll continue on. Let me start this over. And the Lord said unto Moses, number all the firstborn of the male of the children of Israel, from a month old and upward, and take the number of their names. And thou shalt take the Levites for me. I am the Lord, instead of all the firstborn among the children of Israel, and the cattle of the Levites, instead of all the firstlings among the cattle of the children of Israel. That's what I missed. They did not give their firstborn to the Levites. Oh, the little things you miss, and it just causes... okay, is this going to move forward? Hold on. We've got a technical difficulty here. Here we go. For all the firstborn of the children of Israel are mine, both man and beast. In the day that I smote every firstborn in the land of Egypt, I sanctified them for myself. And I have taken the Levites for all the firstborn of the children of Israel, and I have given the Levites as a gift to Aaron, to his sons, from among the children of Israel, to do the service of the children of Israel in the tabernacle of the congregation. That's not how you make an atonement. Nowhere is that done. You're told it's done, but you don't have an illustration of it. All they did was put words in here. Just added words. It's not real. And we cast the lots among the priests. Oh, Nehemiah. How do I get it? I don't understand. I've read this verse so many times. Let's read it again and see what is different this time. Well, I've got it highlighted, actually. I took the next verses out of context. It says, and we cast lots. And I added that correctly to the first verse. But it continues on. And we cast lots among the priests, the Levites, and the people for the wood offering, to bring it into the house of our God after the houses of our fathers, at times appointed year by year, to burn upon the altar of the Lord our God, as it is written in the law, and to bring the first fruits of our ground, and the first fruits of all trees, year by year, unto the house of the Lord. They cast lots for all that stuff so that they could bring that and appoint it to the Levites and the priest. Also, now here's where it changes the topic. Also, the firstborn of our sons and of our cattle, as it is written in the law, and the firstlings of our herds and of our flocks, to bring to the house of our God unto the priest that minister in the house of our God. The house of our God, unto the priests that minister unto the house of our God. No, this is also, so it's part of this. So all of this they cast lots in order to bring to the priest. The firstborn of our sons and of our cattle, as it is written in the law, and the firstlings of our herds and of our flocks, to bring to the house of our God unto the priests that minister in the house of our God. And they say it is written, but it's not. Let's look up this word written to see if it's clear. It's written that the first belongs to God, but it's not written that they have to do it. That's why they would cast lots to see who was going to do it as it was written that they received. It's too much to look into right now. Let's continue on. An altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and shalt sacrifice thereon thy burnt offerings and thy peace offerings, thy sheep and thy oxen. Thy burnt offering is thy sheep, thy peace offering is thine oxen. Let's see. Oh, that's it. We're done. Okay, so we are going to close out there. And it's not perfect, but we have a much better idea of what was going on with the blood and the fat. What was meant by that. So I will talk with you in the next video.